This is a TortureCast series recap, a podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants.
We are die-hard Giants fans. We listen to the TortureCast scream, "Let's go Giants" with me. We are proud to be from the city. Scream, "Let's go Giants" with me. We are proud to be from the city.
Hey everybody, it's Chad from TortureCast, and we're going to try something new. We're going to go ahead and try and up the frequency of our coverage, and we're going to provide these basically series review mini-casts, if you will. We don't really have an official name for them yet, but Eric and Willie and I are going to rotate them every series or so, and then of course, whenever we fall upon an actual podcast, we probably will skip one of those little review episodes and just go straight into the podcast after a series. But yeah, I drew the card, and anyway, it was kind of my idea to force this through, but Willie really wanted to do this as well. But yeah, got the first series. Not a good one, right, guys? The Giants are off to a historically poor start. They absolutely got waxed by the New York Yankees. It was embarrassing. It was on national television. They had opening night for all of Major League Baseball on Wednesday, and they got trounced 7-0. They mustered 3 whole hits. Logan Webb, I don't know what happened to him. That's only the third time in his entire career, like 118 starts, he's allowed that many runs in a start. So it didn't go well for him. He said he stunk. He really did stink. But what the Yankees did is they, Eric noted this too, they jumped on him early. They didn't allow him to gain the advantage of getting ahead in a count, which is what Webb does. And it's usually a good strategy, but they attacked early and often and strung a bunch of hits together in the second inning when they scored 5. I think they had 6 consecutive runners get on base, 5 hits and 1 via a hit by pitch. And they scored a couple more in the 4th, I believe, and the same thing. They strung together like 3 or 4 hits. So everything came in bunches, and that's just absolutely what crucified the Giants. But as it turns out, it didn't matter anyway. The Giants couldn't push across a run, and they lost on national television. So kind of dust that off, going to, game number 2, Robbie Ray comes up, and that was a weird game. First of all, the first game, Aaron Judge, I'd say the only bright spot is the bullpen didn't allow any runs the rest of the game after Webb came out, and Aaron Judge struck out 4 times. So he had the golden sombrero, which is the first time in his career that he's ever done that, but that's not really a silver lining. Second game, Robbie Ray was fine, but there was an interesting sequence of events in which Aaron Judge challenged a strike call. It did become a ball because he was correct. It was outside the zone. It was low, I believe. And he proceeded later on a full count to rip his first home run of the year. And I think he was 0 for 7 or 0 for 8 at that point. Anyway, gave the Yankees a 2-0 lead. They added one more later. And the Giants were shut out again. And this time they only got 1 freaking hit. It was a Luis Arraez double. So yeah, they got 1 hit and a shutout. Just back-to-back embarrassing losses. And then in Game 3, they had an off day, by the way, between Games 1 and 2. It was really odd. And in fact, today's Sunday, and they have another off day Sunday, and they're going to San Diego to play tomorrow night down there at Petco. But third game, the only positives you can look at, once again, is the bullpen wasn't bad. Tyler Mahle wasn't horrible. He allowed 2 runs in 4 innings, I believe, but they lost 3-1. But they got their first run. It was a Matt Chapman RBI single. The Giants also got 9 hits. That's not the best. It's not the worst. But again, only 1 run on 9 hits. And they lost 3-1. So they got swept. And that was also on Sunday Night Baseball on NBC. So the national television broadcasts are not going so well for the Giants. But just overall, they're not going very well for the Giants. So I just wanted to kind of review a few stats and then kind of call it a day. We don't really need to dwell on this too much. But you had just dominating pitching by the Yankees, or completely inept hitting, or a combination of the both. Judge had a second home run in that third game, so he's kind of shaking off the cobwebs of his golden sombrero. They also, the Giants kind of are setting some records here. They only got 4 hits and got shut out the first 2 games of the season. That's the first time in Major League history that's ever happened. They went 4 for 59 at the plate in the first 2 games of the season. Just absolutely horrible. It was also the lowest hit total for the Giants in franchise history, actually, on opening day, with the 3 hits since 1965. And the 7-0 shutout in their first game tied the record for the most lopsided opening day loss since the team moved to San Francisco in 1958. There's also some talk about Tony Vitello maybe pressing too hard, but I don't buy into that. These guys are major leaguers. They have a college coach coming in. They're not going to take him too seriously like that. Like, I need a win for coach. I don't really see that. But I tell you what, losing breeds malcontent, right? Winning just absolutely fosters friendship and team chemistry and everything else. So I don't care if you're Bruce Bochy. He had, a couple of really bad seasons. Things don't bode well for the manager, again, unless you're Bruce Bochy, because he had already won 3, championships by the time he started having some historically poor seasons, specifically like 2017 when they lost 98 games. But he's a new guy, and he's going to be under the microscope. And so everything he says or does is going to be magnified tenfold. And so far, this is just not the start he wanted. It's not the start any of us wanted, of course. I mean, think about last year. They finished the season 81-81, even 500. But they started the season at 8-1. Well, they've already lost 3 games, their first 3 games of the season. Is this the end of the season? Of course not. Everyone's calling about, talking about the sky falling or whatever. No, that's not it. In fact, they the last time they started the season 0-3 was 2012. Guess what they did that year, right? They won the West and won the World Series. In 2000 was one of their worst starts in recent memory in the last 26 years. They started the season 3-9, but they made the playoffs that year. So no one should write this team off yet. I'm not suggesting too many people are, but there are some naysayers out there on Reddit and other things. It's kind of funny. A bad week doesn't make a season. A good week doesn't make a season. It's just magnified, I think, on a subjective, emotional level when you've lost the first 3 games of the season and you've pushed across 1 measly run. Really bad. This is also, that is the lowest number of runs by any major league team in a decade through their first 3 games of the season. Not so good. They're 13 for 91 on the season. That's a 143 batting average. They also got shut out the first 2 games in the first 2 innings of Game 3, so they tied their franchise record of 20 consecutive innings of scoreless ball to start a season. And that's the longest they've done since 1909. So, only 17 years ago. Not bad. At least they didn't have one more inning of futility to break that record. Just insane. So, I would say that the series MVP, I'm going to kind of wrap it up with kind of these little things, your series MVP, kind of your good performers and your bad performers. But series MVP, I think, was certainly New York pitching and Aaron Judge. He had a horrible first game, but came back and had 2 home runs and 3 RBIs, in the next 2 games, including the game-winning RBIs for both. Not that was a whole thing, but it was. Worst performer, I would say, is the Giants offense collectively. Specifically, there are a couple of Giants who are worse than others, bringing up the table right here. So you had Patrick Bailey and Casey Schmidt. They combined going 0 for 19. Not so good. Only 3 strikeouts. That's not bad. But 0 for 19, not going to cut it. Bader, 1 for 10. Adames, 1 for 11. Chapman, 1 for 9 with the only RBI. Jung Hoo Lee, 1 for 10. Rafael Devers, 3 for 12. Arias, 3 for 11. And Elliot Ramos, 3 for 10. So, not so great. It is what it is. Wish I could be a little bit more happy about this, but that's the way they go. So, coming up for the Giants, they have that off day today, and then they're down in San Diego, I believe, by now, and they're going to open up a 3-game series at Petco for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then they fly back for another 6-game homestand. It's a very odd start to the season. In fact, this was the first time they opened their season at home since 2009. I don't know the history behind why they were selected, but obviously Major League Baseball, selected the Yankees and the Giants to open it up. So that's what happened there. So the Giants typically like to open up on the road for several reasons. One, they like to backfill more home games as the season goes on. And number two, the weather is usually better later in the year than in the beginning of the year. So they try to avoid, starting with rainouts and really cold conditions. But that still typically happens in April and May, regardless, and into June with the June gloom. So, all right, well, that'll do it for this first little series review on the Torture Cast. We've been playing around with a couple of things, and this is one of the experiments. I hope you guys like it. Maybe you didn't, because it was a shitty series, and what are you going to do about it? Maybe I'll do my stand-up routine next time. But we're experimenting with expanding with more access like this, or more content produced like this, but also we're playing around with some fun stuff. And so I'm going to go ahead and close out this little series review minicast. We'll come up with some sexy name about that later. I don't know. We'll take some suggestions. Go ahead and send them to torturecast@gmail.com. By the way, you can follow us collectively at TortureCast on Twitter, individually at ChadK21 for myself, at 2outhits for Eric. That's with the number 2. And Willie, you're going to have to snail mail him or something, or we'll forward stuff to him. You can also email us at torturecast@gmail.com. He does check that as well. But Willie has been experimenting with creating kind of a new theme song, I guess, intro, outro song for our podcast. Of course, we've been using Ashcon and Bailey's Feeling Like a Giant for 15, 16 years now as our opener, with their permission, of course. And I still love that freaking song. It's fantastic. But we're experimenting, so I'm going to go ahead and close out this podcast with one version of a song that Willie has produced with a little help from AI. And let us know if you like it, and we'll throw a few others your way as we go throughout the season. So anyway, for the boys, this is Chad signing off. We'll see you for the next series review after the Padres in about 4 days. Until then, Giants, win your first game, please. A-boom.
We walked down Embarcadero, a tall can and a glove, on our way to the very best place to cheer on the team we love. The San Francisco Giants play today, so pack a bag, everybody say hey. A splash hit into the bay, hey, win or lose, gonna see our boys play. This could be our year, the year we finally win it all. Chant beat LA in full Giants gear. When we win, we sing Tony Bennett's song. The San Francisco Giants play today, so pack a bag, everybody say hey. A splash hit into the bay, win or lose, gonna see our boys play. We listen to the Torture Cast scream, let's go Giants with me. We are proud to be from the city. Yeah, scream, let's go Giants with me. We are proud to be from the city.
A big thank you to everybody for listening to the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Follow us on Twitter at TortureCast. You can also like us on Facebook or check out our blog at torturecast.com. I also want to say thank you to Ashcon and Bailey for letting us use their song Feeling Like a Giant for our intro. For Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills saying, we'll see you next time.